Okay, so all you've got to do is just move it over into the middle and zoom back in. Deselect it by clicking off it, and then reselect it again, and then it will be under your mouse cursor. Okay, you'll probably have to do that for 90% of the things that you bring in. Why? I don't know. Maybe because when this model was made or created, the person who saved it might have saved it in the scene over here somewhere instead of in the middle. That could be the reason. I'm not too sure. So just know that when you drag something over and you merge it and it doesn't appear under your cursor, zoom out. It will be somewhere there. Okay. If it's not, just give it a few more seconds. It might still be loading. Okay. And if it is over here and your cursor is still in the middle, drag your cursor over. This will follow. Get it in the middle somewhere. Zoom in. Click off the image or the model, and then reselect it, and it will be under your cursor. Very important because it can be very frustrating. Okay, I'm going to rotate that 180. I'm going to hit my move button. I'm just going to plonk it in there somewhere. Now I can hit Alt W. I can close this window down because it gets annoying being there. Again, if you've got a bit of money, you know, a couple $100 or something, plug another monitor into your computer. It's highly worth the money. Makes this so much easier. You can just unclutter your main workspace and put all these other menus and stuff on the other screen. Or if you're learning a tutorial, you can have the tutorial open on the other screen and follow it on your own screen here, the main one. Really good. You don't need an expensive one. Just get a 15-inch or a 19-inch LCD monitor. They're cheap as chips now. If you really want to lash out, you can get a couple of 24-inch monitors. Okay, so our slide's virtually in position. Now I can't see much in the top view, so that's why I like to set up that other perspective view, because I like to get in here and really see what's going on. It's obviously too low, so I'm going to move it up to the deck. There we go. Pretty neat. The clamps are pretty much already around the post because I did a good job of lining them up, so I don't even need to tweak them really. Probably that one a little bit, but I'm just going to leave that for now. Okay, our slide's done. Now if we check it out from the front, I probably haven't said this, but this black line, this horizontal black line, is representative of the ground. Okay, so this is, think of this as positive space above ground, and this as negative space below ground. So if our image is like that, okay, when we come to render, as you can see with this little home grid, it's actually through the home grid. So when we come to render, those feet will be chopped off. Okay, visually, a good example is if I draw a plane will always draw on the ground. Okay, so now you can see that the slide is under the ground, the posts are under the ground by a fair bit, probably 300 or something, and it will render like that. So it's really good good practice to watch that, and if you're not sure, draw a plane on the ground like that and you'll see what's going on. Alright, now in this case I could easily just Control Z until the image is back to where it was, but I'm going to redo the steps and create my mistake again. So if you ever run into this and you think, oh crap, you know, I've got to get this playground up again on top of the ground, just select the whole lot, okay, and the plane. Now deselect the plane, which is holding Alt and then just dragging over the plane like that. Or you could just hold Alt and click the plane, which will deselect it. You can tell all of this is selected by the white boxes, and we can just move it up. Okay, now the base plates on those posts, we'll just sink them into the ground a little bit. And that's it. Now if we Alt W and go back to our front view, we can see now that we're more or less above the ground. Okay, very simple stuff. So I'm going to delete that plane, back to where we were. So our slide's in, that's what it's looking like, pretty good. So I'm going to highlight my top window, zoom out a little bit more because it's getting a bit bigger our playground. Maximise our window here. And I think I might put a couple of climbers on our decks. So I'm going to do a 120 climber on one side of the 120 deck. I like curly climbers, so I'm just going to go on and merge a curly climber over there. Oh, see, so it hasn't fully come out properly. So I'm going to delete that. Now I don't know why. I'm going to try it again. Drag it over. Merge. So there's something wrong with that file. Sometimes you will see this, and it's probably good that this happened. So we're going to shut that down. Let's have a look. Okay, so pretty much all of it's missing. Now why, I don't know. The file I use is fine normally. So something might have happened in the copying process when I moved all these files onto my desktop. Who knows? This could also be an old model file and is different to the one that I use. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And this is good because I can put any other climber in here that I want in the 120 series, but I'm going to go ahead to the 90 because I know that there's a curly climber in here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and merge it, and it's done the same thing. Okay, so I just had to stop there for a minute and try and find out what was going on. Sometimes you do come across little funny problems and errors in programs like this. It's not an uncommon thing. I don't exactly know what's happened. Something could have happened when I was transferring all these models onto the computer for the tutorial. Anything really could have happened and it's lost data. So I hope that your models are fine. If not, maybe try copying them over again. I'm just going to have to put up with it and try and find some different models to put on there. So I just had to play around and I found out that I could bring in a wall climber. Now for some reason it doesn't bring in the handles properly, as you can see they're half missing. That's okay because I don't want those handles anyway. I want to put different handles on. But the wall climber is there. So I'm just going to put the num lock on there on the keypad and type 90. And I'm just going to butt that up to the 120 deck over here. Okay, I'm going to drop it down a bit. Doesn't matter if you sink it below the ground level because you won't see it. It'll just look like it's flush with the ground. So now we've got our wall climber. I'm going to put some different handles on there. I know for a fact that these ones are pretty good. I'm going to just place them approximately where I think and then fine tune where they're supposed to be. Now this is a good example of a grouped object. I've made these bars and I've grouped them because it can be a pain in the butt trying to select every little component to move it. So at the moment they're grouped. Now I can't do anything with it unless I ungroup it. So to ungroup we go to group up the top and select ungroup. Now when I click off that and just click a bar, it selects one bar. So the reason why I want to do this, and I'll close that window down again, is because these clamps are sitting out. So I just want to select the clamps, both of them at the same time, hold control, select the other one, and I just want to move them over a bit. Okay, and that looks a bit better. So let's go ahead and put a ladder climber or something on the 90 deck. Ladder, merge, apply. Now the handles haven't turned out properly here either. That's okay because I don't want to use those handles. So I'm just going to delete them. Well, not the whole lot. So that was a grouped image. So that's what happens if you delete a grouped image. The whole thing will delete. So we just want to highlight that or select that and ungroup. Unselect it. Reselect what we want to delete. Go ahead and delete. those few items, select our ladder. Now this is where you can just quickly hit a line and then hit the deck, push OK, and it'll align it to the deck. Now sometimes when the image isn't grouped, this is what happens. So that's just another trick and actually another trap that you can run into. And that's what happens when you're lazy and you just want to take a quick shortcut. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is rotate that, and I'm going to take the slightly longer route. It's not that bad, but for the purpose of this I'll do it the safe way. Now this was for the 90 deck, so I'm on the wrong deck, so I just got to switch it over here, lower it down. Okay, that's about right. Now I want the same handles as I used before, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select some of the handles, right click, and select similar. Now sometimes this will happen. I'll just shut that down a bit. What the select similar command is it selects something of a similar color and shape and name. And if you have all of these posts are dark blue, and I had selected the clamp, which are also dark blue, well, it's going to go ahead and select everything that's dark blue. Whereas if I just selected yellow post or little poles there and select similar, oh, it's done it again. Select similar, it should just select the yellow ones. So I could go ahead and move that, but I don't have the clamps. So I'd want to go ahead and just manually select the clamps. Okay, it doesn't matter if you select the post as well, because we can unselect that by holding Alt and just dragging over it. It's just an easy way to do it. So you end up selecting the post as well as the clamp, and then just deselecting the post, rather than you individually clicking the clamps and clicking the wrong thing or something. And then I'm just holding Shift and I'm just dragging the object to where I want it, and it's making a clone. Okay, now that's copied those handles at a 120 deck height. I just want to lower them down a bit because this is a 90 deck, so we don't need the bars so far up in the air or too high. So we're just going to lower them down a little bit, somewhere around there will be alright. Okay. So now I might put a couple of panels on there. So we're just going to open the window, close the climbers, fold it down a bit. We don't really need that expanded. Open panels, and bubble panels fine. Merge that into the scene. We're going to rotate it 90. And we can put it on our 90 deck over here. And this is all it is. It really is just this simple. All the models are done for you. Okay, and all you have to do is just be aware of what you're doing. Just take your time. Click off that. Okay, it's pretty neat there. Clamps look like they're on the post pretty good and proper. I could probably, if it was a bit fiddly, I could just select these two and move it over a little bit. That's okay for what we're doing. 3D Max, you might see it pause every now and then. 3D Max saves automatically at 5-minute intervals or something. You can set it yourself. I don't touch it. And it's good because if it crashes for some reason, it saves a backup copy of what you were working on. Now, it might not necessarily have saved, up to the last second of what you were working on, but you might not have to start completely again either. It might have saved all the way up until I put the bubble panel on, or the ladder, in which case I've only got to do 2 steps again instead of the whole thing. And before I continue building this playground, I'll quickly show you where that backup folder is.